Welcome to the Hobby Handbook, your weekly dose of news, deals, and data from the world of sports cards. Hosted by Alex, aka Clever Cuban Cards. New episodes every Thursday. Look for more Clever Cuban Cards content over on TikTok and YouTube. Check us out live on Whatnot every Sunday and Wednesday.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Hobby Handbook. We have an awesome guest today, but first, before we get started, we're having another section of Learn from My Mistakes. And what I want to say is, don't go all in on things that you don't know enough about. When I first got back into the hobby, you guys know I'm a baseball guy for the most part. I still follow basketball and football, and we're going to be talking basketball today. But when I first got back into the hobby, I had a lot of people that, basketball cards were hot, football cards were hot. And that's what was, flipping, moving, etc. And I wanted to do the cool thing, and I did stuff that I didn't really know a ton about. I wanted to get, the really cool new Prism rookie cards, but I couldn't afford. I got back into it 2020-ish, so I couldn't afford 2019 Prism and Chase, Zion and Ja. I couldn't afford, the Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Balls. So what did I do? I went out and I bought Aaron Naismith cards. And hey, Aaron Naismith had a great playoffs this past year. He had some great moments where his cards spiked a little bit, but I went all in just because I wanted to feel like I was a part of what was happening and not actually making those smart, well-informed decisions. And so that, I think, led to me using some of my resources, whether that be time, money, etc., in ways that were not necessarily the best. And granted, I learned from it, but hopefully you can learn from my mistake and say, hey, think before you buy, think before you make those decisions, and don't buy something just because it's the hot new thing. Buy it because you actually like it and are actually interested in it. So, little learn from my mistake. We're going to have more of those, but now we're going to go on to our guest. All right, so we are here with our guest, Dr. Tyler Tarver of Tarver's Cards, educator, content creator, Jordan Poole superfan. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you having me, man.
It's
honored to
great
be
to
here. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Love it. So the first thing that I have to ask, Tyler, why Jordan Poole?
Bro, great question. You asked the best questions. I've always said that about you. Man, when I got back into collecting, I feel like every collector goes through stages where it's like you'll spend $1 to $5 and you might go up to 10. And then as you buy bigger cards, you feel more comfortable. And now I'm in the range now where $2 to $500 I'm okay with most of the time because I've sold some stuff. But when I was starting out, I loved Michael Jordan. I loved Steph Curry, but it was height of the boom. So those dudes were so expensive. And I love the Warriors, and they had two rookies, Eric Pascal and Jordan Poole. And so I started buying up their stuff because it was way more affordable. And then Pascal, I think he's out of the league. But JP, that was just the kind of how I started. But then, honestly, I just really like his personality. I like how he handles himself. He had some big situations that were very public, and he just handled it I'm this dude's 22 and he's handling it better than the 33-year-old involved. You know what I mean? I just love how he handles himself. And then honestly, what put him at the top of my favorite player pyramid is we went to a Grizzlies game this past year, my son and I, and he came around. We're at, asking my kid, asked him to sign a basketball, and I was asking him to sign a game-worn jersey. And right at the beginning, he's like, where y'all from? And we're like, Arkansas. And he goes, dude, I see your videos all the time. I was like, let's go.
That's
when
awesome.
A player recognizes you, I was like, I'm going to buy you a locket and we're going to wear them. And you're my best friend forever, Jordan.
Plus, he's a University of Michigan guy. Go blue. Gotta like him for that too.
He hit the shot, bro. He hit the shot in the tournament.
Yeah. Hey, it's honestly, I love it though. One of the things that is great with collecting is when you have a guy who's a little bit more affordable. It's fun to collect the GOATs, don't get me wrong. It's fun to collect the big name players. But it's also awesome when you can get crazy cool cards for a relatively affordable price. And
there you go, my Ron Gant collection. Gant's a lot cheaper than Chipper Jones, and I got a PMG of him. I would never get a Chipper Jones PMG. I can't afford that. Sell my house.
Yeah, I had a guy that I found a Ray Lankford card of, and it turns out I knew that he was a Cardinals fan, and it turned out that he was a crazy big Ray Lankford collector. He's literally the biggest collector of him, period. And that's collecting guys like that though, because it's fun, because you can get those cards that you normally wouldn't, that are Grail level cards, but are unobtainable for guys like you and me. So
Yep.
super cool. Love that you collect JP, and I know you continue to follow him as he goes from Washington to New Orleans, and hopefully he has a good year this year.
Let's go. Hey, I love it. Everybody's like, oh, they shouldn't have traded their pick to get Derek Queen. Like they traded up and lost their first round pick. I'm like, good. Put JP on a team where they're not trying to actively lose. Like if he was like cooking, they'd take him out in the third so that the Wizards would lose. I'm like, I want to be on a team that's trying to win. So like, I'm all in. Let's go, baby.
Play to win the game. Exactly.
Nola for life, unless JP gets traded, then whatever team he goes to.
Love it. Now, speaking of winning, you have created a super strong online brand. Now, I know that you started off on YouTube. You had your educational content. Y equals MX plus B, I think, is your most viewed YouTube video. How did you start? What got you started making content, and what then kind of pivoted you into more specifically card content?
Bro, thank you for asking. So I started out teaching high school math, and I had a class where I had to teach like multiple maths in the same class period. It's for like students that needed like extra help, and so they kind of combined them. And I was trying to teach like algebra 1, algebra 2, and geometry at the same time. And like, you can't do that. Like it's different subjects.
Yeah.
And so I started like recording myself teaching geometry, and then I would upload them. You remember like the iPods with the scrolly wheel and like the little video?
Oh, yeah.
You
the
remember
iPod video. Love that
iPod
thing.
video, baby. RIP. And Tim Cook, he let it out. He put it out in the little canoe and shot a flaming arrow and burned it. But no, I used to put the videos on there, and then YouTube came out, and I was like, dope, this is so much easier. I'll just dump it on here so my geometry kids can watch me teach. I can teach Algebra 1 the first half, Algebra 2 the second half. And so I just started tossing my YouTube videos or my math videos on YouTube. And then they kind of gained some traction, and like people were using them because they were like kind of early videos. They're super sketch, and like I look disgusting. Like my haircut, I look like a druggy scarecrow. It's like, how did I ever stand in front of teenagers and not get roasted just every minute?
It's a different time.
And so it was fun. I really enjoyed teaching and then tossing those out to help kids, and then I ended up helping other kids all around the world. And so I was like, man, this YouTube thing's pretty dope. So I just kind of kept pumping out content for, 15 years now. And so when I got into sports cards, it felt like the natural thing. Like if I'm going to get into something, I want to have like a medium where I can talk about it, give my thoughts, and hear other people's thoughts, kind of like build a community around it. And I just kind of haven't stopped.
Awesome. Now, was that building of a community what your like primary goal was when you started making your sports card content? What was your initial goal?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Anybody that makes content, like you'd obviously like to build it up. And I know because, my main job is the education side. And with education, I create a lot of content on social there, and I provide free resources for teachers. And like, why are you giving out for free? I was like, well, the free resources leads to, more attention, which leads to brand deals, which leads to speaking engagements, which is my main revenue source now. And so I just know there's a lot of fruit that comes from creating content financially. And granted, like the cool thing about sports cards not being my main job, which I'd love to get your thoughts on this, because I know you made that transition about a year ago into being your main job. The thing I do like is that there's not the pressure on the sports card side of what I do to where I have to make money to like pay rent, feed my family. That's on the other one. The pressure's there on the other side. Whereas sports cards, I literally just have like in my notes, like, how much am I in debt? Okay, I need to sell some cards, and then I just try to get back to zero every time I buy a big card. And so I don't know, what are your thoughts? Like how is that for you? And you create content, but you also are very active in selling. Like, how has that partnership been for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting. I put out a video on TikTok earlier this week talking about like, life is a little chaotic for right now. We have a 4-month-old. She's going through the 4-month sleep regression, and we're on vacation in upstate New York with my in-laws. So like, we're here for like a month. They have a beautiful lake house. So it's amazing to be here, but trying to pack up the business, pack up the content, and like do it on the go while managing, my wife was traveling for a bachelorette weekend, while managing solo parenting like that, while managing that sleep regression. It was a chaotic past like week. We had the national, I got COVID after the national, and so it was it's been a month. And I talked about how I know a lot of people look to me in the content from a like aspirational standpoint of whether you're just trying to do what you do, which is use the hobby to fund the hobby. You make your content, you use the revenue that you make from your content to continue to do that. Or if you're looking to start a card business, one of the realities of it is that if you stop, everything stops. That I had the realization, my wife got back on Sunday night, and I was like, dang, I haven't put out a YouTube video in a week, and I haven't put out a TikTok in 4 days, and that's like crazy for me. Like, you need to continue to do things. And for me, I try my best to separate the like personal side of it, like the personal collection, and the like business side. And I have a lot of fun with the business side, don't get me wrong, and I have a lot of fun with the content. I started making content because it was fun. I was ripping packs in my grad school bedroom, and I'm like, I'm gonna put this online. Like, grow a little bit of a personal brand. We know how important networking is in the hobby, and do that, and it grew into something that I never thought that it would, but creating some separation there. I would never sell my PC to keep the business going, I've said. So it's definitely a challenge. It's definitely something that is a lot of work, but I think that it has worked really well for me. I was talking in therapy earlier this week about how it's so weird that for the first time in my life, I feel like I have like professional goals and aspirations. Like, I've always been somebody who just like worked to live, and not that I live to work now, but like I have a lot more enjoyment in my day to day. And that's definitely been a shift in an interesting one that it's really fun. I really like it. And the day that it stops being fun is the day I'm going to go do something else. I've got plenty of good different things that I can do. I've got plenty of different options. So it's fun. I love it. And it's definitely is a challenge, but it's a good challenge.
Yeah, I see that. And that's the thing. A lot of people, when you work for a company or work for someone else, it's like the company keeps moving. Like, you can step out, and yes, there's things you're in charge of. They might pause for a minute, but you're still probably going to get paid unless you're not going over your sick days. Like, it moves along without you. And you said it best. Like, if you quit as like an entrepreneur or like a business owner, if you're like kind of like the main hub of pushing your company forward, when you chill or you go on vacation, nothing happens.
Nothing.
Like, it sits still. It's like, okay, I got to keep this ball rolling. And the hard part for my wife was when I was, especially like 10 years ago, when like YouTube, like ain't nobody making money on YouTube, and there was like monetization was like barely rolling out. And which, fun fact, the reason I got monetized, because used to it was invite only. The reason I got monetized is there was a show. Do you remember the show called Tosh.0?
Oh yeah,
with Daniel
absolutely.
Tosh. Yeah, so I had a few clips. He would start it out as like second season. He was like, "Hey, y'all, post some videos about, surprise trust falls, or what was the other one? Things you should never run into a room and yell." And I made a few clips, and they were on Tosh.0.
Whoa.
And Tosh.0 didn't put, like Comedy Central didn't put their clips on YouTube. And so if you searched Tosh.0, there was a good like 4 to 6 months where if you search Tosh.0 on YouTube, I had the 2nd and 7th highest rated, like highest ranking videos. And so they did well, and I got invited to the monetization, but it was like, it wasn't even paying for coffee every month, but it was still pretty cool. But like when I'm making those videos, and this, when you make social videos, especially when you're first starting, like you're tossing them out for free. You know what I mean? Like you're spending hours planning, filming, editing, posting, scheduling, and like you're bouncing away from your family. Like, all right, y'all go chill. I'm gonna go hide for 20 minutes and post this to a bunch of different platforms. And they don't, like, how much you getting paid for that? None. Like, I might get some AdSense if it pops off, but I'm not getting paid anything. But
you got to put in a
I
grind.
know
it's a lot of work.
it is. And you just got to like, no, I'm going to keep tossing this out, and it's going to get in front of this person who can call me and have me come speak on this, or it snowballs, man. And that's the hardest part for people creating content. From the people I've talked to and advised on creating content, the hardest part is posting videos every day for 6 months. And at the 6 month mark, you post a video and it gets 10 likes.
Yeah.
And it's demoralizing, but you're like, I'm just going to push through, because there's every now and then a video is going to pop off and get 10,000 likes. And so I just got to keep rolling.
It is. Yeah. I say all the time, because people ask, how do you, I do a lot of sales on Whatnot, and people ask me, how did you grow on Whatnot? How did you do this? And for me, I was like, I did it. I jumped onto Whatnot and I was successful right away because I put in years of grinding content and making videos that then you have a recognizable brand and you go to a show and people know who you are and those types of things. So I think regardless of how you want to find success in the world, you have to put in the work. And I think that it's figuring out what is the right way for you to put in that grind and that work. And and what I love as well is, and I'm not a runner, but I kind of treat content in the same way that I know that like runners will treat like the PR personal record. You're running your own race. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you are, if I'm looking at you or you're looking at somebody else and saying, okay, like they have this many views and this many followers and this many likes, like it's not going to go well. run your own race, be focused on your own growth, and I think that that will eventually lead to good things, hopefully. So,
yeah, couldn't agree more, man. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's just pushing through whenever stuff's not popping leads to more things popping. Don't get discouraged. Just keep. And that's one thing, the reason I love talking about sports cards is because, like, if you, like my buddy Chris, I talked to him yesterday, and like we have a lot in common. Like I'm on his board for his company, like, but we spend 98% of our time just talking about cards. Like we're just like, one of us will talk about a card and then we just start rolling. Like I would talk about cards anyway, even if it wasn't being recorded. So like if you're going to pick something to create content on, I always tell people, what would you want to talk about for 3 years and never get paid $1 for? That's probably where you need to start.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so my wife knows that I will find my way to like get cards into the conversation no matter who we're talking to, where we are. We were at a wedding a few weeks ago and, you know, in the little like family suite for like a welcome party, and it was her uncle that was getting married, and the bride, her best friend walks in with her husband. Her husband walks up to me and goes, "I got to shake your hand." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "I love the content." And of course we start talking about cards, and my wife is like, "You guys have been talking for like 10 seconds. How are you already on baseball cards?" And he goes, "This is Clever Cuban." Like it was so funny. And for my in-laws and my family that was there, it was so funny for them to like see that. Like I get recognized at card shows, of course, all the time, but getting recognized like in like a regular public place was definitely a funny thing. But it's absolutely a grind. It's also a really, really cool thing though. And I think that, you know, while it's a lot of work, I know that you have kids, and, you know, I just had a daughter, and I love the showing off the different skills that the hobby helps kind of like grow, like that, putting in that grind, putting in that work, showing that like doing the work does eventually pay off. And I know that you have your kids collecting. What got them collecting? Was it just because you love talking about cards and you're talking about cards all the time, and then they're just like, okay, I want to do what dad's doing? Like, what got them into collecting?
So great question. So I've got 3 kids, 15-year-old boy, 13-year-old girl, and a 9-year-old boy. And honestly, like my 15-year-old, he doesn't really care. Like he's got a couple like random cards, you know, like he likes history. So he's got a couple like president cards from like back in the day. Remember that? Like, I think it was like in the 50s, there was a top set, 50s or 60s, there was a top set. So he's got like a Jefferson, and then I got him like a relic piece of like Alexander Hamilton. But he doesn't really collect. He just likes to go to shows. The dude just loves road trips, and he likes to be able to like pick the place we eat. Like that's the main thing he cares about.
Love it.
He's like, I'll walk. Like I went to the National. He went with me a couple years ago. Literally, he's walking around like sitting on my case, reading a book on math. Like the dude's a genius, and that's what he did the whole time. Like Jesse Gibson from Sports Cars Nonsense. Shout out Sports Cars Nonsense.
Absolutely.
He started talking to Titus. He's like, "What are you reading?" He's like, held his, it's a math book. He's reading a math book for fun in the summer at this card show. But then my daughter, you know, she picked up like a couple of Taylor Swift songs. I think I saw you at that Nashville card show, and she picked up like a Taylor Swift card, like custom, and like she does a little bit, but she really just likes to be on video. That's her thing. Yeah. She's like, I just want to be on camera. She like has her own YouTube channel. She does cool stuff.
Love it.
My youngest is the one that collects. Like he's the one that like, he plays like the show. He got a PS5 for Christmas, and so he's been getting into those games. And so like he now, like I can pick up players that he plays with on the games, because we don't watch a ton of games, but like knowing from that, like he like, I don't know how, Xavier Worthy, who plays for the Ravens. No, is he on the Ravens or the Chiefs? Chiefs. He becomes a superhero when my kid is playing with him on the game. Like, I cannot stop him. I know what he's going to do.
I love it.
Every play I know, he hits him in stride and he scores every play. I can get the same team, and Xavier Worthy just turns into like a third string on a high school football team. Like, but he is a borderline superhero when my kid uses him. But now he's started like picking them up, and he like recognized the names, and so he's really into it. And it's cool because like, he's not like obsessed like I am. Like he has just like a box he sticks everything in, and he likes getting them. But it's like he just enjoys that like interaction of it, and then like, you know, going around and just the hunt of finding the players. It's like you boil down, like get rid of all the stuff that like we've like with the money and the eBay comps and all this. He doesn't give two turds about a comp. He just wants that player he likes, and it doesn't matter if it's $100 card or a $1 card. If it looks
he's a
dope,
true collector.
He's a true collector at that age. And I just love that. And I don't ever want to spoil that for him. So I haven't like taught him comps, like really, because I don't want to ruin that. I want to keep it as long as possible. But at shows and stuff, like I did the Dallas Card Show a while back, and I had my older two there, and I would literally just like leave the table and leave them in charge, because they're learning in like working that table. They're learning so many important skills, like life skills they can carry over to anything. And here's the deal. They know I'm going to pay them for working the table. So like they're sitting there, they're like hustling. They're both very different in their personalities. My daughter's going to be like, how's it going? Who do you like? Oh, what kind of sport are you into? She doesn't know jack diddle on anything, you know, like she don't know nothing about any of these, but she's going to try to help you. And my other son, he's like, hello. And then he like sits there and just kind of like lets you like peruse. So it's just really cool watching them interact with people and like build those skills every chance we can.
Oh yeah. There are so many skills, and I've said this before about, I think that collecting and engaging in the hobby is one of, if not the best thing that a kid can do. And it doesn't matter what you want to collect. Do Pokemon, do sports cards, whatever. But I mean, you get how many kids nowadays, and especially you as an educator, you know this very, very well. The social gap that exists with COVID and people, you know, losing year plus of development, social skills, people being able to talk to strangers, people being able to negotiate, you know, the value of your dollar, decision-making, market research, networking. There's all these different things at the hobby. If you really get deep into it, yeah, they are going to make you successful in the hobby. But if you then decide that you're going to go do something else with your life, all of those skills translate incredibly well across the board.
Dude, that's actually, so I haven't like announced it anywhere. Breaking news, I'm just kidding. We're still in development stages, but we're doing, because my education is my main thing. So I like talk to teachers and students. And I was like, how can I cross these things over? And like everything you just said is so true, because there's so many things in sports cards that can like be utilized, like skills they can build at a young age when they might be into cards. Even if they get out of it, like you can carry that into almost any business. And so like I'm about to do like this like 10 school tour where I go and talk to students and do like, you know, assemblies where like I show them sports card stuff, like how to, you know, comps, selling, negotiation, entrepreneurship, the social, the creator economy, like how do you build a business around something using social media that you love. And I was just gonna just like weave it around sports cards, because a lot of the kids that I'm talking to, they, you know, especially, you know, middle, junior high, like they're into cards, you know? And so just showing them like, this is an avenue that like, if you really love something, build a community, add value to that community, and you can make a living off of it. Talking about something you love versus going in and working for somebody doing something you don't enjoy for 40 to 60 hours a week. And so I don't know. I'm feeling very passionate about what you just said with regards to how this hobby can build lifetime skills. Like we're talking about being lifelong learners. Like these kids can be lifelong learners on those soft skills that matter so much in their everyday life.
Yeah, I would love to see Tops, and hey, if anybody at Tops or Fanatics listening to this, come talk to Tyler and I would love to see them make a push and initiative that to support schools to run a like after school program for kids that they could like just like a club that they give people, you know, they give the teacher access to product at a like just blaster boxes. It doesn't need to be anything crazy, but at a reasonable cost, and you get kids into collecting and you support them and you develop these skills. I think that it would grow the hobby, and I think that it would also provide just a lot of goodwill for the world. So I would love to see them do it as a thing. And as I said, if you want a couple of educators who know all about cards, come talk to us. So
hit us up. We're available.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I want to transition to something that I know is a lot of your bread and butter. You are a big basketball guy, and we are, when our listeners are listening to this episode, the preseason for the NBA will be just about a month away. Now, in sports cards, and you know this, the importance of timing the market is super important. If you start buying cards in the preseason when Jordan Poole goes off and scores 80 points, you know, you're going to be paying a higher price than if you had bought stuff today. Looking at the preseason, you know, starting up relatively soon here for the NBA, is there anybody that you think could be having a breakout season this year that might be worth looking at for the card market specifically?
Yeah, great question. So again, and this is all like speculative. This is just looking at trends.
Yes.
What I always look at, and it's like, it's same with investments. Like, what's the cap been? And then is there been a drop? Because I feel like people can, it's easier to like fill that gap, as opposed to like, oh, I'm the third string and I got to prove that I'm worthy of being second, like building up to it. And so I always look at players like who had some hype, who has come down a lot and nobody's talking about, but they're going to make a push in the attention space to where people are going to start searching their cards on eBay. And I think like the Detroit Pistons, they made a huge push last year, and they were a young team. They had some coaching issues. Cade came in, number one
Cade's
pick.
a
And then,
stud.
yeah, he's so good. And like, he's everything I've heard about him. And I always try to like listen like around the fringes, like how are they? Are they respected by their teammates? Are they leaders? Do they put in that work? And like, that's one of the many reasons I love my guy, Jordan Anthony Poole, is like Steph and Clay constantly talked about how much they loved they worked out with that dude. They loved his work ethic, and he just stacked days and put in the work. Like, there's so many players that chill for like a couple months. Like, all right, we start in 3 weeks. I got to get in shape. You know what I mean? Like, those aren't the players I see keep growing. And Cade has always been like one of those guys that his teammates are like, he's our dude. I don't care if he's 22. He's our dude. Like, they know he's a leader. He calms them down. Like, he's a leader. And they were trending up at the end of the year last year. Granted, in basketball, after the All-Star break, those last like month or two, there's like half the league is trying to tank to get out of the playoffs and get a better pick. So yes, they're going to lose more games, but I could see them trending up. And when teams are going into the season not trying to lose like the Wizards do every year, they're like trying to actively win. They get more attention. They're higher up. Like they're going to be playing in the bigger market games. They're going to be on national TV.
It's
and
exciting.
then this, like once they get more attention, more people start searching. And this, when something's on bids, which is we use for comps for everything, is like, oh, look at what it sold for. There's two people. It only takes two people that care about a player to raise their prices. And so
Jack it up.
if two people go like, oh, I'm watching, First Take and they're talking about Cade a lot, I'm going to start collecting stuff. And then one other dude sees that, or lady sees that, and they're like, I'm going to do the same thing. You've now raised Cade's prices. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it's harder with, modern stuff because there is a lot more. So like they'd have to go in and do what I did with Jared McCain and buy like 35 of his Prism Silvers. Like you'd have to go in and just buy a ton of them. But I saw that when I went and bought all his stuff. Like I raised his market. Like I think it was like, I don't know, 40%
You
just by going in and
single-handedly
buying it.
jacked up the Jared McCain, and he's a stud.
I did.
And
I
I will
did.
say though, what I love about the Cade call out too is one of the things in the sports card market that is so important is still being able to take advantage of the hype, the what could be. That I'm a Celtics fan, and Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown could have a great season this year. Obviously, no Jason Tatum. The Celtics are kind of in a weird pseudo rebuild year because of Tatum's being out, and I think Jaylen Brown could have a very, very good season. Do I see his card market exploding? Probably not, because he's past that. He is a relatively known quantity. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a ton of hype around him. Celtics aren't going to win everything this year. And being within that hype window, Cade still has, his rookie stuff is still fairly recent. You are still capitalizing on the what if versus we know that Jaylen Brown can be the finals MVP. His market is generally what it is, whereas Cade could be this. And I think that he can be a superstar, lead a team super far in a playoff run, etc. But that could be that hype, I think, is so important to whether or not there's upside in a player's market.
Oh, absolutely. And what I always tell people, and where I've seen the most success, and I can only speak for myself, where I've seen the most percentage increase isn't with the players we know are like number one or even number two on a team, because they're already getting attention. Where I've seen the best success is like the third or fourth best player, who maybe if they're like a diehard follower of that team, that those people know, like Peyton Pritchard's a hooper. We know,
I was going to say Peyton Pritchard. Yeah.
He's going to get a lot more. He's going to be a starter now. He's not going to
have a lot of opportunities this year.
Exactly. And if he can stay consistent, pop off, 20 to 30 point games every game, because somebody's got to score. And if he's popping off and he can prove consistency, again, I think you'll see a steady increase.
No.
But where I've found is that third or fourth best player, preferably a younger player, and when you hit the playoffs, if they can pop off for a couple games, that's where I've seen the largest spikes. Like, again, Jordan Poole, sorry. This is not, I'm not telling you need to turn this into a Jordan Poole fan podcast, but I'm saying the option's there, man. The market needs it, okay? But I was sitting there and I was, I'd big collector of him, and I know because I follow him, he was like, when Steph got hurt near the end of their championship season, he got hurt in the last several games. Well, JP stepped in and he was like averaging mid-20s a game. He was balling out, but nobody was noticing because they were still like just trying to get in like the middle of the pack. And then when they got in the playoffs, there was a big story. Again, it's all about attention and where the media is saying Steph started off coming off the bench because he was still coming off an injury, and JP started. JP averaged like 30 points a game the first 3 games. I sold like 7 of his cards. Like I think I have the largest Prism rookie silver PSA 10 sale of Jordan Poole in history. Like I bought it for like, I don't know, $50 after grading, got it graded myself, and I sold it for like $750. Like I sold it and like 3 others, and I profited over like $1,200 on 7 of not even my good cards. And it's like, it's because he was about the 3rd best player on the team. He came in, nobody was paying attention. He was staying consistent. And then the playoffs, the media, when the teams trim, they're talking about less teams, boom, and it popped off. So like I always try to trend towards like where star players are or big teams, because that's who the media likes to talk about. They're always going to talk about the Lakers. Yep. If you can look on the Lakers and be like, Jake LaRavia, I think he's going to have a good spot. He's going to get attention. I mean, I had a Jake LaRavia Superfractor SGC 7, and it sold. I think I tripled my profit on that thing. Like easy, just because he got drafted. As soon as he got drafted, I had like 3 offers and just sold straight up. And so like finding those teams that get attention, the players that get attention, and who are like the 2 or 3 behind them that you think are going to pop off in the playoffs. And again, I know we're just starting the season. We're already talking about the playoffs, but that's what you're looking at. Like who's going to pop off now because they're going to get opportunity.
Yeah. And I think that is a really... Winning is important. Winning matters. Yes. When, to your point of when teams, the NBA I think is the worst in terms of tanking of all the major sports leagues. And when teams are not trying to win, it's less exciting. When they are trying to win, obviously there's media attention. Now, speaking of winning, who do you think plant your flag right now? Who is coming out of the East and who's coming out of the West this year for the NBA?
Man, I mean, you're a Celtics fan, so I'm just going to pander to you. I'm gonna
it's
say
not going to be the Celtics.
It might be. I mean, here's the thing I love about them. You said they're not tanking. Can you imagine a world where Joe Mazzulla is like, all right, I'll tank? That dude is a
maniac.
Psychopath.
There's no way he's tanking.
No way. The GM will be like, hey, the new GM is going to be like, hey, man, you need to lose some of these games. He'll go, okay, and then he will not try to lose. No. He'll be like, shoot more, Peyton. It's like the gif of Adam Driver when he was Kylo Ren. More! Like, he just wants more threes. So who's coming out of the East? Who's coming out of the West? If, biased, I would love the Pelicans to win and Jordan Poole to be Finals MVP. That would be financially amazing for me. But if I'm being honest, like, OKC, the fact they won it all last year, they're young, and young teams are a lot more durable. Yep. And so, like, again, I'm knock on wood. I hope they stay healthy because, like, they're super cool. Shea signed for us, J-Dub signed for us. Like, they're super cool dudes. But, like, I think they're probably going to come out of it. The Nuggets got better. And the Nuggets pushed them to 7 games. Like, we forget that was their hardest series. I say that Tyrese hadn't got hurt, but like the Nuggets were a tough go and they got better. Like, and Jokic don't need, like, he could literally have a broken leg and he'll play at the exact same speed. Like, he doesn't need,
he doesn't play fast.
No, he plays like you called your UPS driver in to play pickup. So I'm like, I think I'm going to have to go OKC because it's theirs until they lose it. And they re-signed all their people, and they have the assets to even add mid-season if they want. Add my guy Jordan Poole. And then out of the East is harder because it is kind of like a free-for-all. I mean, the Celtics, again, I don't think they're out of it. I think now is the Knicks' time. I think with a new coach that might like give other people opportunity. I think the Knicks have a good shot at it. But honestly, it's anybody's game, man. Who are you thinking? Like, who's in your head? Like, these are the people going.
I was gonna say Knicks, and I think OKC is it's that might be like the chalk answer, but I think that it's probably the most likely. I know that the hobby would love to see a guy like Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves go deep. I know it's when he does well, he's a guy who his market absolutely can and does spike, but I think that OKC is a powerhouse, and then the East is a bit of a toss-up. It could be the Cavs, but I feel like they always choke. Like, I'd like to see them do well. I like Donovan Mitchell. I like Evan Mobley. Like, I think they made some good moves, but I don't know that I don't know that they have the fortitude to make it. That's what I'd say.
And that's crazy to me in sports cards, like Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell. Like, Donovan Mitchell has done more, like, especially in the playoffs. Like, that dude is amazing, but his market is so much smaller than Edwards. And like, that's the thing, like, Donovan Mitchell doesn't have a bad personality. Like, dude will show up to random people's birthday parties. Like, he's super fun and good and engaging, but it's like we as a hobby, like, latch on. And I think it helps when there's a player we can compare him to. So, like, Anthony Edwards, when he popped off in the playoffs that first time, everybody's like, is this Michael Jordan's son? Yep. And then now you in your head, you're thinking like, okay, I know he's not Michael Jordan's son, but if people love Michael Jordan this much, if he can do the same thing, I want to invest early. I want to get in on that train, on that hype. But like, if they don't have a clear comp, it's hard for people to like attach it to something like previous. You know what I mean? And so it's like hard for them to get a frame of reference for where their market could go. And so I don't know. That's incredible. Y'all see that? I don't do as much modern baseball. Do you see that with baseball as well? Do people have to be able to like have player comps? Like, oh, you're the new, John Smoltz, which I know pitchers don't do as great, but you're the new this.
I think to some extent, but I think that also baseball is so hype driven in terms of what you could be. And I mean, all of the card, but like, I think baseball prospecting is so deep into that. But I don't feel like there's as many comparisons of like, you're going to be the next Barry Bonds. I mean, obviously like Ohtani and the Babe Ruth comparisons are a more obvious one that kind of exists, but I feel like there's more room in baseball for guys to just be their own person. But I also feel like the baseball market, and one of the reasons why I personally really like the baseball market is I don't feel like it is top heavy in the sense that there are the big guys who sell really, really well. But there's a lot more depth in terms of obviously prospects, but guys there are a lot more people that just collect different guys that, Yadier Molina, amazing catcher, one of the best of his generation, etc. He has an incredibly strong market despite the fact that he's retired. He should be a Hall of Famer, but like he's not. He is a great player, but he's collected just because people just love him. Like, I feel like there's a lot more of that. And don't get me wrong, in basketball, I know, talking about the Anthony Edwards and Michael Jordan kind of comparisons, the basketball market has those guys. It's super top heavy though. You've got LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, like those are your big three. But it's also this question because like outside of those, there's a lot of the ups and downs of like, this guy's going to be the next face of the league or this guy's going to be the next big thing. But I feel like the NBA market continues to go back to those guys. As somebody who like exists in that NBA market, do you think that being so top heavy like that, like I personally think that it's kind of a bad thing from a holistic market standpoint? Do you agree, disagree?
I mean, there are pros and cons to it. I like that we like, because the fluctuations come with, like you said, who's the next face of the NBA? Is it Shea? Is it Tyrese?
Wemby,
is it
is
Edwards?
it whatever?
Yeah, who's the next one? And it's like, I think the basketball market's been different because the top, like you said, the top of the market has been the same for 20. Like LeBron's still doing it. You know what I mean? Like we've all seen a meme said my aunt just came out of a coma from 2013. What should I tell her? And somebody goes, tell her Braun's still doing it. Like we've had like the face of the NBA has been the same. LeBron for 20 years. It was MJ for years. And then we literally call it the dark ages, the time between like MJ and LeBron, even though MJ came back to the league. Yeah. We call it the dark ages of cards at like 99, 2000, 2001. But then you had Steph the last 10 years. And like, we see it in ratings as well. People love dynasties. Like whether they love LeBron or hate LeBron, they want to watch him succeed or watch him fail. And it's like they love these dynasties. And as much as we root for the underdog, we prefer just to have big names clashing every year, And so like, I think that with basketball, it's very like, I don't want to say GOAT heavy, but like it's very top heavy because That's who drives the narrative. Like, you and I both know if we turned on whatever the crud Stephen A. Smith's talking about right now, he's going to be screaming, LeBron James, don't talk to me. Yeah, because they don't like you, bro. Like, you ain't vibing with him, you know? That was more Chris Rock doing an impression like than it was Stephen A. Smith. But, like, that's the thing.
It was good
like,
enough.
It's who they're talking about. And I know us, like, in the way you said it, like, we're so hype driven. And we go based on what are the biggest voices saying. And, sometimes it's a creator. Like if you go to like, Ryan or Jeff or whoever, has most of the views. Yeah, they can drive it because of their hype. But I think the bigger like hobby influencers are whoever they're listening to on a podcast, like Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo, or what's Stephen A. screaming about, or what is, whoever talking about on TV, because those are like as big as we think some of these like content creators are. Those other dudes are way bigger, way bigger.
Crazy.
It's crazy because they have the national television views and they have the YouTube, the social, like they've got all of it. Whereas we might just have the social media side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you talked about how LeBron's been doing it for 22 years. Steph has been super relevant for the last 10. Both of those guys are nearing the end of their careers. It's a weird thing to think about. Like the league in the next 3-4 years probably will not have either of those guys in it.
I know.
What do you think? Obviously, I think there's going to be an impact when those guys retire. Do you think that it is going to be another like dark ages, quote unquote, like you said, between the gap between Jordan and LeBron? Do you think that there's going to be a new like the guy in the league? Like I've heard people talk about, it could be Shea, could be Ant, but like could be Wemby, but I don't know. I personally don't know that I see it so clearly and obviously, but I'm curious on your opinion. Do you think that there's going to be a new face of the league? Do you think it's going to be a dark ages?
I mean, it's harder now because parity's there. Like we've seen a new champion the last 7 years. It's been like, and I don't know when was the last time that happened. And just like with the views, it is with the hobby too. Like if we talk about face of the league, it's going to be whoever keeps winning. You know what I mean? Like winning drives that attention. If LeBron is as great as he is, but his team is in the play-in every year, like when he started out, we wouldn't have kept talking about him. Like he would have eventually faded out. Like he'd have been MJ. So they said the same stuff about him. Granted, there were 2 TV channels that were talking back then, but like MJ was like, his whole narrative in the 80s was, yeah, he's a great player, but he's not a winner.
Nope. And
then he started winning. And then he became what he became. LeBron James. Oh, he's a great player, but he can't win. Yeah, he's taking Maurice Cheeks to the finals. Like, yeah, it's going to be tough, bro. Yeah. And so like, I think right now we're seeing in sports cards again, as LeBron and Steph fade out, people can still collect, like people like MJ's the number 1 graded and collected person. But like we can see the GOATs still be collected, but with regards to like current players in the league, and I think we're going to see that same parity with regards to their prices until you start seeing what we saw in the early 2010s with LeBron and the Heat winning 2 or 3 times. And then you've got Steph Curry in the mid 2010s where they started
Dynasty,
winning.
Yeah.
Then if Shea, which they're a very young team, they have all the tools if everybody stays healthy. If they win 3 or 4 in a row, you and I won't be who's going to be the face? Shea is.
Yep.
You go into the season thinking they're going to win every year. That's your new face of the league. That's what everybody's going to emulate. Everybody's going to be talking about. Every trade happens is, oh, that's cool. The Nuggets made that trade, but can they beat OKC? You become the standard. And once you become the standard, you're talked about so much, you become that face. And I think personally, like everything I've seen of Shea, like, granted, they could lose next year and, they have to trade off people. Like, it could not. I mean, we saw it with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden. Like, we thought they were going to be the future, and stuff happens.
Brooklyn team. Nope.
But then sometimes they stick around like Clay, Dre, and Steph. Like, it all is so, like, time will tell. But I know it's a lot more fun to talk about what could happen. But, like, that's the thing. If Shea wins, everything I've seen about that dude, I love him. Like, he seems like such a good person. Super kind. He's super cool. Like, let's just be real. Go to his Instagram. Dude is just cool. Like, he became the face of aura. Like, that's what he became with every middle school kid was like, oh, you trying to get aura like Shea. Like, he became the face of it. Like, he's got all of it. All he has to do is string together 2 or 3 more wins. And then, because right now we're comparing him to Giannis won 1, Jokic won 1. Like all these people won 1. The next step for him is we need to start comparing him to people that won 2 or 3. Yep. And then after that, let's compare him to some people that won 4 or 5. And then if he starts winning 6 or 7, ooh, that gets nasty. That gets nasty. You know what I'm saying? Shay's shoes about to be walked around being worn. You know what I'm saying, MJ? MJ going to release another documentary to try to go over Shay, you know? So I don't know. I think it's, I don't know. It's fun. I'm talking too much, but I just love it because the parity and who we collect, it allows us to go in and grab the great cards of the players we love, as opposed to like, I'm never going to own that Kobe MJ logo, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I can grab a pretty dope card of, you know, even Shay right now. You could go in, if you had 5 or 10 grand you're willing to spend and able to spend, you could buy a super dope Shay card that's nobody else owns, you know? So absolutely. I love it. And I think that he's got the best shot based on the tools he has around him and who he is. I think he's got all the tools for it.
I think it's a great call out of the as we said earlier in the podcast, winning matters. And I think that they have the clearest and easiest path to continue to win. So makes a lot of sense. Now, I have one question for you for our mailbag that I want to toss in here, and then I have a lightning round for you.
Okay.
So the question from our mailbag came from a follower over on TikTok, DJ. And DJ asked, what's the biggest lesson you've learned about you and your son having them in the hobby and in the videos with you? Like, is there a lesson or takeaway that you think that you've had from doing that?
Yeah. So first off, DJ Callie, thank you so much for listening. I know he's a big listener of the pod. DJ Callie. The biggest thing I've learned, and I kind of started out this way, is I don't ever force anything on my kids. Like my oldest, when he was little, like, I love basketball. I do. And I wasn't like the dad from One Tree Hill who's like, go shoot your free throws, son. You know, I wasn't like that. But like, I went out in the outside, and like, we went outside one day and he's like 4 or 5. And I was like, all right, bud, I'm going to show you how to shoot. And like, he didn't want to. He wanted to go watch like Blue's Clues or something. And so like, he pushed against it. And then that like got stuck in his brain for like 9 years. And then literally last year, like 6 months ago, he was like, hey, I think I want to go up for the basketball team. I'm like, son, you haven't dribbled the ball 3 times in 12 years. Like, you don't. He's like, okay, what do I need to do? And I told him, and the dude went out and dribbled it. And he didn't make the team, but he got like, they asked him to be a manager because they saw that if he stayed around it, he could eventually make the team. But he had been playing basketball legitimately for 2 months, and he went out and he just wants to play every day. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I learned very early as a parent, don't force your passions on your kids. Let them see your passions. And sometimes they'll jump in, sometimes they don't. Like, I never, like, unless I buy, like, I'm going to surprise my kid with a card, and I've realized don't do a long video, do short videos. Like, I'm going to give him the card and film it and then ask him if I can post it. But when I go film a video, like, I never ask them, like, hey kids, come in here, we're about to film a vid. You know, like, I never do that. And I literally will just go, I'm filming a vid. If anybody wants to be in it, you can. And like the video I posted today, my daughter was in it. Like, she just was like, she rolled in.
It this morning.
Oh, for real? Thanks, man. Yeah. You do your research. I like that.
Absolutely.
She was just like, yeah, I want to be in it. And she came in and she hung out for like half the video, disappeared for a few minutes, and then came back. Like, I'm like, if you want to be in it, cool. If not, that's fine. And so just don't make weird clicking noises in the background. That's all I ask them. I was like, if you're going to be in it, dope. But if not, be cool about it. So don't force your passions on your kids. Let them see your passions. Let them find theirs. Sometimes they'll overlap. Sometimes they won't. And, you know, I know you have a kid, so you don't need me to tell you this. You know it.
I'm taking notes over here. I'm only 4 months in, so I'm taking notes. Learning from Dr. Tyler Tarver.
Oh, okay. Well, then just let them snuggle up to like an SGC 9 of your favorite player every night. No, I'm just kidding. One of the things that I found with my kids is, one, don't force your passions on them. But number two, take an interest in their passions. Yep. Like, take an interest in what they're doing, even if what they like is really dumb. You know what I mean? Like, they're kids. Like, and I say this to teachers too. I was like, anytime, like, I taught in a time when every kid was talking about a show called Jersey Shore. There hath been no dumber show than Jersey Shore. But all I did was went on and watched a 3-minute YouTube video about a person called Snooki, and I learned enough to have one conversation with a kid, and then they were engaged in my class. If you go like 10% their way on stuff they care about, they're young people, they're going to go 90% your way. And so, like, as a parent, finding out what they're into, what they're passionate about, and just asking them questions. You don't have to be an expert. Just ask them questions about it and let them explain it to you. And don't say it's dumb. You know what I mean? Just be like, that's cool. Or I love that you're into that. Or I love that about you, that you are so like, you're willing to learn about something that you care about. Like, I try to do that with my kids as much as possible, just because you're trying to build those connections early and just, ignite the flame in what they care about. Because what they care about now, they're probably not going to care about later. Like, think about, what is it? I'm 40 now, but like when I was 15, I care about amps and speakers and trucks. Like, I literally don't even listen to music now. I listen to podcasts. I listen to your podcast. Subscribe. Hobby Handbook Podcast. Subscribe, like and subscribe.
Awesome. Well, I agree. I love the parenting tips. Love how, and I love how it's cool that even with that support, you've also gotten them involved in things that they want to be involved with you. You want to be involved with them. It's a nice way to do it all. So, last thing that I have for you here, you told your kids, you say you're not going to tell them if they're wrong or it's dumb. I might tell you you're dumb on some of these lightning round things. If you, okay, take me. I keep it real. So I got some lightning round questions for you.
Okay.
First one, Jordan or LeBron?
Oh gosh, Jordan.
Interesting. I'm a LeBron guy, but
really,
yeah,
I don't blame you. I'm not a hater. Like, I get it, and if looking at the numbers, I get it. It's just the problem is I grew up in a time where I was borderline obsessed with that man. Yep. Like everything. And
I grew up in Jordan in LeBron's time, and that's different generations. I get it. Favorite product to rip?
Prism basketball.
Okay. One grail that you would buy if money wasn't an issue.
Oh gosh, my number one grail that I want is the 2019 Prism Jordan Poole True Gold out of 10, number 8 out of 10. Okay. So I know this is lightning round, but the reason is because I was doing a giveaway with a company and they sent me a box of Prism basketball, and I opened and pulled my favorite players True Gold out of 10, and I had to give it away to a dude. And it was numbered 8 out of 10. I will find it and own it in the future.
Okay, awesome. Well, excited for when you do. If you could get one NBA player on your podcast who is not named Jordan Poole, who would it be?
Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry. He got me back into basketball. I owe him that. He got me back into basketball.
Love it. Are you excited for or dreading Topps basketball cards?
No, I'm excited. I love it. Like,
even though you're losing Prism. Your favorite product to rip. You're losing Prism.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I'm cool with it. I mean, like, Prism ain't never paid me money. I pay them money. Like, I don't care.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the hobby, what would it be?
I wish we could figure out this whole comp situation. The way we price things is crazy. Like, I think the fact that Pokemon is better at pricing their own cards than we are is crazy. Like, we should be better at this.
Yeah, I agree. And then last one, biggest mistake or regret you have when it comes to sports cards?
I sold my first show I set up at, I sold a Sharif Abdur-Rahim second year Z-Force Super Rave. So it's out of 50. I didn't know it was a Super Rave. I sold it for $5. It's like a $500 to $1,000 card. So I want that one back. That's the one I would want to get back.
That's tough, but hey, we one of the new segments that I've introduced in the podcast, and our listeners have heard the second part today already in our intro, is learn from my mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes, and I think it's okay to embrace your mistakes and know that they're happening, but we all make mistakes. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, Tyler. Tell our listeners where they can find you and your content.
Oh, thank you so much. Plug, baby. Tarver Cards. I'm Tarver Cards on everything. I do longer form videos on YouTube that nobody watches, and I do mostly short content, though, tossing out a few every day. So just chunking out the content and see if something you like, cool. If not, swipe or block.
Love it. Well, hey, I watch it because I was watching stuff this morning, so it comes up on my recommended page on YouTube all the time. So I appreciate you coming and joining the show.
You're killing it, bro. I'm sorry to cut you off. You're killing it. Like, you're doing so good. Like, every time your videos come up, like, you are so good at social media because you are so authentic and you're so transparent, and like the way you communicate is phenomenal. Like absolutely incredible. Like, I could tell, like, just by the way you talk, I'm like, this dude has to have a background in education. Like, he is so good at explaining things, not over yapping like I do. Like, you do such a good job at everything you do. So well done, bro.
Yeah. If making content, you got to love the yap a little bit. So
a little bit.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining the show, Tyler.
Thanks for having me.
So thanks again to Tyler. To close up today, we have a quick mailbag. We already did one of our mailbag questions, so we've got two more. The first one actually came from our Whatnot stream last night. One of our mods, Jay Griffey2 on Whatnot, asked a question that I thought was a really good one, so I wanted to bring it here onto the podcast, which was, do I place a value on the bookend and or jersey number match on numbered cards? Now, Tyler talked about how he wants the Jordan Poole gold 8 out of 10. He is chasing that specific numbered card. My answer to this question is, personally, no. I don't. I'm not going to pay extra for a Juan Soto card because it's number 22 out of whatever. Do I think it's cool if I end up with a jersey number? Yeah, I'll take it. But I'm not going to pay a premium for it personally. That being said, there absolutely are collectors and people out there who do pay a premium. And if you're somebody who is looking to buy a card and you're looking for jersey number, know that you may need to pay a premium. And more so, if you're somebody who's looking to sell a card and you have jersey number, know that not all of your buyers will be interested and will want to pay a premium just because it is jersey number, bookend, etc. Basically, it boils down to the fact that at the end of the day, it's all cardboard, and what is it worth is what somebody's willing to pay for it. And some people are willing to pay more for that, first on print, last on print, jersey number, etc., whereas others aren't. So in general, it depends. Personally, no, but overall, there are some people that do. And then our second question for the mailbag was from Adam over on TikTok, and Adam's question was, how important is population when looking at graded cards? Obviously, a higher grade holds more value, but I've actually seen some lower grade cards that are listed more than a higher grade because of low pop. I'm using air quotes there. Population matters sometimes. If it's a new release, guys will advertise that a card is low pop because they paid extra money to get it graded with PSA, or they're the only one that graded it with BGS. Population only matters in terms of, is it actually hard to get a 10? Now, there are cards, there are numbered, look at, and I know the market has gone down, but Trevor Lawrence, his Prism rookie year, it was super hard. The quality control was really bad. It was super hard to get a PSA 10 on his Prism Silver. So, a 9 was $200-300 back in the day when I was, transacting on those cards, and a 10 was like $1,500. Normally, you don't see that much of a multiplier for a PSA 9 to a PSA 10, but in that one, population matters because it's hard to get a high grade. You might have people try to sell you on a card of, oh, it's low pop. Pop only matters if it actually matters. And in some instances, whether it be vintage cards, whether it be cards that are hard to get higher grades on, that pop might matter. If it's a pop, if it's a grade, if it's a 9 grade, but that card is a pop 1, and there's none higher, well, that matters because there is not a better graded copy available. Another prime example of that was Victor Wembanyama's rookie Kabooms. They all were grading 6, 7, 8s. I think last time I looked, I think there was 1 9. There's no 10s. So yeah, that 9 is gonna hold a premium because it is a low pop. It's the only one. If you want the highest graded Wembanyama rookie Kaboom, that's it. So in general, don't let people try and sell you that a card is worth more because it's low pop. Just because it's low pop, do some research, look to see and understand, why is it low pop? Is it a new release? Is it something that is hard to find in that grade? Does that grade actually matter? Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards right now, I think I saw that a PSA 1 is worth more than a PSA 9 right now, which is weird. But that's because there are people that are wanting the PSA rainbow, 1 through 10, and there are a lot of 9s and not a lot of 1s. So pop, I think, matters in some instances, but I feel like some people overinflate it as a means of marketing and trying to sell their card. So that's everything that we have for you guys this week on the Hobby Handbook. I appreciate you guys coming in, listening to this episode. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Make sure to leave a positive review if you are enjoying the show. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good one.